Ayo, what's good? For a guy who lives over 4,000 miles from Kennedy Space Center, launching souls into the void is like oddly important to me. I think space's biggest hype man is to blame. Last living astronaut of Apollo 11, Buzz Dr. Rendezvous Aldrin, what is that nickname? Isn't getting any younger, and I'd love nothing more than for him to see us step foot on our first planet. Despite how video essay worthy this guy is, it's this guy that I want to talk about. The always forgotten third member of the moon mission. This is Michael Collins, and he was a pretty chill guy. Doing laps 60 miles above the lunar surface was Collins in a very cramped Columbia command module, while Buzz and Neil were down there, picking out their favorite rocks. On returning home, the media couldn't get enough of this world's loneliest man nickname, and really lent into his mission being this isolated, existential nightmare for the guy. That's if you could find a mention of Collins post July 16th, because Armstrong and Aldrin were very much mythologized in the headlines after this event. And this third man, for a lot of people, was just a designated driver. Those lonely claims weren't entirely wrong though. It was 2 hours for a single orbit, roughly 47 minutes of which was spent in the shadow of the moon, meaning complete loss of contact from everyone and everything. By the time his crewmates returned to him, Collins had spent just shy of 10 hours in that shadow alone. No Houston, no crew chatter. Just the hissing and clicking of analog systems, the lunar lighthouse keeper, passing through light and dark, contact and no contact, over and over. Cyclical, repeated abandonment. Drifting through the void at the furthest point a human had ever been from home. So whilst he was shrouded in that silence, he wrote,
"I'm alone now, truly alone, and absolutely isolated from any known life. I am it. If a count were taken, the score would be 3 billion plus 2 over on the other side of the moon, and 1 plus God knows what on this side."
And that is way more interesting than what happened at Tranquility Base. Down there it was all very symbolic. Plant the flag, have a chat with Nixon, and in keeping with this theme of the flip sides of major headlines, the vast majority of presidents, in times of crisis or achievement, will have some squire put pen to paper and make fucking gold. In the case of the moon landing and all its possible terrifying outcomes, Rich had a script for the worst case scenario. We've since unfurled it from the bin it was chucked into. Nice shot, buddy. After Apollo 11 succeeded, it did, and we can see what Nixon would have said had the lunar module just beelined into a crater. Take a listen. Future post-production Mellow boy here. Don't panic, this is not an ad. I'm nowhere near popular enough for that yet. Although thank you to my 30 subscribers from my first video. I did not expect it to do that good. I want to paraphrase and just jump over a couple things in here because I don't really want to read someone else's stuff word for word. If you do, and I can highly recommend it, I'll put a link in the description to the full thing. Like and subscribe now. See you later. Bye. Titled An Event of Moon Disaster. Fate has ordained that the men who went to the moon to explore in peace will stay on the moon to rest in peace. Neil Armstrong and Edwin Aldrin know that there is no hope for their recovery, but there is hope for mankind in their sacrifice. They will be mourned by their families and friends, by their nation, by a Mother Earth that dared send 2 of her sons into the unknown. In ancient days, men looked at stars and saw their heroes in the constellations. In modern times, we do much the same, but our heroes are epic men of flesh and blood. Others will follow and surely find their way home. But these men were the first, and they will remain the foremost in our hearts. For every human being who looks up at the moon in the nights to come will know that there is some corner of another world that is forever mankind. Amen to that. Beautifully written by William Safire, who served as a speechwriter for both Nixon and his VP Agnew. I love this. I love this so much. Not that I've ever wished death by asphyxiation to any astronaut, but it's a shame we didn't get to hear him say this. The part that actually choked me up when I first read it was that final line, which, after having several World War poems just drilled into my skull in year 8, it was clear to me that this outro was inspired by the intro of Rupert Brooke's poem, The Soldier. If I should die, think only this of me, that there's some corner of a foreign field that is forever England. You are, damn right. 600 million people watching this. In 69, that's like a fifth of Earth. And in around 200 words using a tone that's kinda cold, Sapphire's actually managed to create a bit of hope given the circumstances. It's not much, because 1 in 5 people on our rock, God knows how many children, just watched 2 American family men die. But starting with fate immediately moves the situation into this biblical space, that there are powers unknown to us that decided this. For the home country of both men being a very religious place, way more so in the late 60s than now, it would have registered with so many people. Even Aldrin, when the lunar module touched down, whipped out a wafer of bread, a vial of wine, and a small silver chalice to signify that first breaking of bread and the first sip of wine consumed on another world. Sapphire uses that theme of gods and beings, locations greater than us, a couple more times. A Mother Earth, into the unknown, heroes in the constellations. To a lot of people, these were men trying to walk among gods. Lest we forget that these 2 men were 2 of 3, and Collins doesn't get a look in anywhere in here. Collins at least had the awareness of 2 human souls on the body directly below him. But in this scenario, now that they're gone, and the ISS won't be inhabitable for another 31 years, Collins is the only human in space. The rest of the species now is back at the cradle, and he has to fire his thruster once in lunar orbit, gliding nearly 240,000 miles solo along a trajectory that the nerds at Mission Control insist will work out. Pray for this man. Obviously, none of that happened. They splashed down safe, and the 3 of them went on to live very different lives. Armstrong, the first man, became known as the guy who didn't want to be known. He lived as quiet a life as he could, rejecting interviews and kind of shunning that fame whenever he could. Not because he hated the achievement, he just hated the noise, which I do find very relatable. Aldrin, the second man, entered this pit of depression and addiction in the 70s. How do you top walking on the moon? The event quietly ended his sense of purpose, but ultimately he clawed his way out and has been demanding we continue to explore the cosmos for years now. And Collins, the other man, was entirely comfortable in his own obscurity. If Neil vanished and Buzz crashed, Mike just landed. He ran the National Air and Space Museum in DC for a while, painted a lot, wrote a lot, and was this warm, witty guy. His meaning didn't come from the height of the moment, it came from how he lived after it. The fact he signed up for a very possible moon disaster like that has made me remember his name. On the moon, off the moon, disaster speech, no disaster speech, noodles, no noodles. Here's something else to look at in 2 ways, directly from Apollo's poet.
I have this beautiful, lovely view of the moon, but it's all black and white. The Earth is the only color in the universe. Michael Collins. Thanks for watching.
I think I'd be a fool if I said that I had the best seat of the 3. On the other hand, I can say with complete candor and with complete honesty that I'm very happy to have the seat which I have and to be doing the job that I intend to do.